hello, hello, hello. Happy Sunday, guys. Let's see who's on. Hello, hello. Hi, Pat and Loretta and Eileen and Lori and Bev and Mary and Joanne and Carrie and Sandy Fowler and Donna and Mary and Peg. Hi, Cindy. Would love to paint along. I'll just watch, but I'm working on another painting. Yes, no problem. Hi, Kathleen. Cindy Braden, Carol, Janet. Good to see you guys on. Thanks so much for being here. All right. I think we are live, right? Hi, Linda McCurdy. Oh my goodness, this has been a long week. How about for y'all? I'll get this cough drop out of my mouth. Hi, Marie and Shirley and Vicky. Alrighty, guys. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. What's left of it? I did. Busy. Rich says hi too. Oh, tell him I said hi. Hi, Susan and Wendy Warner. Hello, hello. Oh, so excited about these new adorable pieces you created. Thanks, Loretta. Me too. I cannot wait to paint these today. Heidi ho. Hello, Chris Avola. I did make a slight change on one, and it's not that big of a change, but it is a font change. I was having issues with a font, then I switched it, and then I was able to switch it back and fix what was wrong with it. So, like I said, not that big of a switch or change, but I do like this newer font. So, hi, Carol Colbert and Carol Adams. Alrighty, guys, it's 4:02. Don't forget to like, comment, share. We will have a few giveaways. I need to get some to my pen pal. Yes, that's fun. So, yeah, we will have, hi, Linda Martin, we will have some giveaways, so make sure you like, comment, share. We will draw names. Well, I will do that before next Sunday's live. I am going to be live next Sunday. Let me just pop this up here so that you can write down the date and time. It's actually my middle son's birthday, but he's going to be out of town with his wife. They're having a little baby moon before the baby comes in August. So I will be live next Sunday at 4 p.m. I am going to be doing something with one of the mixed media floral collage papers that I created. And I think I'm also going to show how I painted the duck life. Okay, because I know not everyone is into ducks, but it's still fun. All right, so, and it's just the one, so I think I'll do that first, and then I'll do a little mixed media, probably like a 6x6 or something. So, anyway, hi, Sandy, hi, Dawn. Hi, Kay. All right, yeah, so we've already FaceTimed with my youngest today, and which is always fun. That's usually our Sunday. Hi, Patrick. Bonjour. Good evening. That's usually our Sunday afternoon thing, is to FaceTime with our youngest son, and he's in Connecticut. Moved during the pandemic and has a fantastic job and a really sweet girlfriend, but we miss him. So. I miss him not being here. Oh, thank you, Eileen. I think the duck's adorable too, especially if you're into, if you've got a Jeep. Instead of a rubber duck, you could stick that on someone's window, and they can, put a little ribbon in it and hang it from their rearview mirror or whatever. They can put it in, and like maybe in the E. The P, there's not a hole in the small one. There might have been. There's no longer a hole in the P. you guys let me know, okay? The ones I've been cutting lately do not have a hole. You can't even see that. Let's see if we can do it that way. Nope. Anyway, so on the big one, there is a hole. On the small one, there wasn't supposed to be a hole. So I kept it on and then I took it off. And so you guys just let me know if you want it would just be a smaller version of that one with that hole. Because then, again, you could take that one and make it into a charm by hanging it. But you also have here, you know, that little opening spot there. Anyway, so there will be lots of baby things in your future. Absolutely, Linda. In fact, we're getting new carpet. Ours has been in here for let's see, we moved here in '05. So it's been here at least 23 years, 22 years, because we bought it from the builder. And my husband, when I was away on my trip last month, did a whole bunch of quotes and stuff to have people come out to do the new carpet, because he's like, we're gonna have a baby. We don't need it, you know, on its knees on this dirty carpet, which is not dirty, it's just old. So anyway, hi Pam. I like the hole in the P. Okay. Are you painting live for APC? I am painting live, yes, for APC, which is what, the 23rd of this month. Hi, Kathy Pruitt. Okay, so you might get one without a hole, but most likely you'll get it with a hole, but we'll see. I need to change it. So, all right, guys, it is 4:07. Let's get started. So for y'all that were here this past week with me, last week, Sunday, we did this fun little hydrangea piece, right? And I added some more bees to it. And I love that. A couple things I would change, but you know what? In my art journal, when it's done, it's done. I turn the page. Okay. And then Monday, and this is on my YouTube channel or Facebook. Okay, we did the butterfly, and then then we had our peach lesson. So I did a stained glass lesson. Being a grandma is the best thing in the world. Oh, I can't wait. So my son's birthday is June 14th, next Sunday. But I think I misspoke. Hi, Charlene. Hi, Teresa. I'm so sorry. I've got to clear my throat. Let's get some Diet Coke. Warm and sunny Buffalo area. Well, it's nice that it's warm and sunny. I'm coming back to Buffalo next April to paint with the snowbirds. So, okay. And then I think it was Wednesday, I did a revamp of this lesson. Basically, I just recreated her, gave her a different outfit, put a little bit more weight on her, and gave her a really pretty skirt. So now, like I said, there's some things I would change. One thing I would change, remember I asked you guys about where I should put this. I like it. However, I wish I had cut it right above the leaves and put that a little bit lower and then did the other half down here. But again, it's done. So what there was a line drawing for, you can go to my website, look under the More tab, and there's free printables and stuff, and you'll be able to download the line drawing for the peach, the girl, and I think that's it, because the other one, there isn't a line drawing for. It was a stamp. Just got back from my sisters in Arkansas. Oh, wonderful. Marlene, I thought about you today because I was cleaning out some shirts, and she gave me a beautiful Hello Kitty sweatshirt at my dad's funeral, and because it was held in Millington, Tennessee. Hi from Portugal. Oh my goodness, Brenda, you guys have been there for quite some time. It just looks absolutely amazing. I've only been to Portugal once, and that was on a military flight that landed. And we got up the flight, went into the little airport, got back on the flight, came to the States. So that's my extent of Portugal. But I hear it's absolutely gorgeous. And again, y'all's pictures have been awesome. So I'm going to be Lolly. My husband is Poppy, and I'm going to be Lolly. So that'll be fun because I didn't want to be Grandma. But, and my mom is Nana. So it does, Marlene. It helps that I've lost 17 pounds. So, anyway, hi, Sharon. All right, guys. Oh, and I'm coming to the Hoot area in, so Columbus area, 2028. Going to Seattle, Portland in September. Again, if you're wondering where I'm going to be, you can look under the seminars and conventions in on my website. Okay, so let's do our Happy Mail giveaway. So I have 3 Happy Mail giveaways. It will be for a brush holder with an iron-on that I've done something of my, so like on my stickers, I've made those into iron-ons as well. So I'll iron it onto your brush caddy. Not necessarily going to be purple because I don't even know how many purples I have left. And then I have some new stencils. In fact, I think I'm going to come right down here so I can show you. Oops, let's let that, and then let's get that. There we go. Okay, so I have some new stencils that are coming out at OKC. I'm going to have a section just for new stencils. And so these are some of them I love. I'm just going to move them like that. So these are also going with the brush caddy and brushes. And I have 3 to give away. Love this one. And so many different ways you could use that. And I really, really love this one. Excuse me. So, Happy Mail winners, number 1 that came up on the wheel. So let me just come back up here for a second. Excuse me, and explain to you my giveaways, okay? Gloria Hikade, Hikede, I still need your mailing address, okay? I usually don't do that, but since it was during my membership drive live, I would love for you to get that, okay? So you can go to my website, hit the contact us button. You can go to Messenger, let me know, or you can just email me. Just let me know. Don't put your address in the comments though, please. So, thank you, Linda. I love the stickers too. They were so fun to create, and I've got more coming. In fact, I have a shipment coming in tomorrow. So thank you, Bev. Okay, guys, so when it comes to my giveaways, it's me, myself, and I don't have a Renee to put all the names on the wheel if you follow Tracy Morrow, and so I will take all the names that I see on Facebook and YouTube. Usually around 2:30, I go through all of them. I write the names, put them on the wheel, and I spin it, and the names pop up. Okay, I'd love to be able to do it live, but I can't. So the other thing is you have until my next live. So these 3 that I announced today, I need to know your mailing address before next Sunday so that I can get those to you. After that, it goes back into the stash, okay? Because I can't have a running pile of giveaways, unfortunately. So those are my terms, those are my rules, so I will refer back to this if anyone comes back in a month and says, I didn't get my giveaway. If you sent me your mailing address, your Happy Mail's going out, okay? All right. I'm Grandma. Best mom was Gammy. See, I had a Gammy, but I called her Grammy. Hi, Brenda Owen. All righty, guys. So the first person that came up on the wheel was Susan Fanning. Susan Fanning, send me your mailing address. I'm so sorry, guys. Second one, I have your mailing address. So Carrie Henderson. So that brush caddy is going to go out with some brushes, a couple other things, and again, those stencils. And if I get my order in early enough tomorrow for my new stickers, I'll throw in a couple of those. So, and then Happy Mail 3, Sharon Estes. Sharon Estes. So again, sometime between now and next Sunday before 2 p.m., let me know your mailing address, guys, and I will get these out to you. Okay, I'm gonna move it to the side so I can remember. I know that's you. Oh, I love that. Hi, Lois. So I have my Diet Coke in there, and I have my water that I have to finish today in here. So, okay, I'm gonna go ahead. Okay. I didn't want to do that on camera. It's so loud. All right, let's go right down here. So we will zoom in. So what I'm going to do today is show you. So I have the little random act of kindness pins, and then I also have a bag tag. I'm going to tell you today I'm painting on this just because it's bigger and you'll be able to see it. I'm doing well, Cheryl Bentley. How are you, my friend? So all you would do, paint it the same way. You're just going to use smaller brushes, okay? So that is the Salty Life Sea Turtle. And this is what I was talking about, that I'm going to change the font to a little bit more like that. Okay, can I find mine painted like that? It is somewhere in this disgustingly dirty studio of mine. But I'm gonna change the font to that because I just think it makes it different than that one. So, because that's the same font. All right, so we're gonna paint that. And then I painted the sea horse differently with the background, and I'll give you the colors that I used. Basically on this one, it's just a different background color, and then I shaded a little with the quinacridone gold, okay? But I really like this one, and so if you like that color, you can put that on there. So then, like I said, next week, oh, and it comes, you know, packaged like that, so you have 6 in there and 3 in there, and 3 in there, and 6 in there with the new font. Okay, I think the new font stickers went out before the new font Sea Turtle went out. The others, so next week I'm going to do the Random Act of Kindness Jeep Life, but I'm gonna do the larger size, again, just easier to see on camera. Then Let Your Dreams Be Your Wings, and then that's the bag tag, and this is the little pin, charm, magnet, and then the Be Kind. Again, just some of the ones I have, monsters, and so many other things that I shared. So, but let's go ahead and get started. I think I'm gonna do this one first, and I will zoom in for sure so that you can see that and see my palette. I like the new font too. Your problem with your throat today is how mine is every day. Yes, Carol, mine is that way every single day. Thank you, Patrick. I loved that too. There did seem to be a little bit of a neon on that big one. And the reason is because it's completely outlined with white. So that really gave it that neon look. So thanks for noticing that. I appreciate it. Okay. I apologize for the throat clearing. Okay, so on this one, the background, I used crystal blue. You could use Bahama blue, crystal blue, and on the smaller one, I used Sea Breeze. Okay, it's just a little bit greener blue. So we're going to get a little bit of that out. And let's get a number 12 flat. So what I did to prep these before I started painting was I gave it a coat of the multi-purpose sealer. Okay, you can do that on the sides, you can do it on the back, not necessarily on the back, you don't have to, but If you want to stamp or stencil or do a design before you give it away, you could always use the multi-purpose sealer, okay? But I do like to get it on the front and the sides because I use water and, you know, things are wet. Can I see the butterfly again? Absolutely, Bonnie Duncan. So we've got this one, let your dreams be your wings. Let me come down here. And then the little bag tag. Okay, and painted, same colors, but slightly differently. All right. Now what I want you to notice as well is the lines on the seahorse. They're simple enough. I'm going to show you how I did those. Okay. Speaking of, let me grab, see if I have a pencil. I do. I have that Christmas pencil. All right. Oh, I have that one, but it's not sharpened. Okay. So I'm going to take that 12 flat and just go right over. So I used the Snow Titanium White. And I'm going to load this up. And I'm just going to go right across the entire thing. Now, if you don't want to get this on the edges, great thing to use is one of the sponge daubers. So, but you want to use that dry. I do sell a 3-pack on my website. And basically you're going from the inside out to the edge. I'm not coming back because that would get it on the sides. Now you could always take a pen or a brush or your finger with paint on it and go around the edge if you want to. But again, you want to go from the inside out. Okay. So, and then you can reuse those. You just wash it. I'm going to get rid of that. Wash it out, and it's ready to go. Okay, let's dry this. Hi, Donna. Enjoy your company. I have holly, pumpkins, daffodils, tulips, butterflies in the works right now. I love it, Dee. My prolific painter friend. Like the second font. Yeah, I really... So if you're getting the first one, it's, you know, it's similar to the bag tag, but the newer font I really like. Okay. So we will get out some titanium white. Okay. I just bought some of these cushion sticks to clean the lens of my laser cutter. Oh, that's a good idea. All right, so we're going to get out some titanium white. We are going to get out some oyster beige. So if you have the seahorses or sea turtles, or you're going to get them, you might want to write down the colors. All right, so far we've used crystal blue, titanium white. Where did I just put that? Seriously, where did I just put that? It's right there, in front of my face, oyster beige. Okay. And I'm going to come in with the 3/8 angle. Hi, Carol Manhart. And I'm going to pick up some of that oyster beige on the whole 3/8 angle, okay, instead of just on the toe, because I want to come in, and I find it a lot easier to fill this in with that toe, being able to go around the edge. Does not have to be super opaque. We just want to put a little barrier color, get more to our seahorse color. So that oyster beige will work great. Bleached sand's another great color. Desert fawn might be a tad dark, but that's okay because you can always dry brush and lighten it up. So if you've got anything in the, you know, that range, use that. And I got new glasses. They are working so much better. Then my last ones. So again, I'm not really using it like an angle brush. Just swipe that paint right back in. I am gonna switch though because I'm getting into that smaller area. So I'm just gonna go to a smaller brush. This is a number 2 flat. Number 4 flat would work fine too. Again, we're not going for pretty. We're just going for color. Seahorses fascinate me. I don't know why. They're an odd creature, but so cute. Did I just go inside? Oh, Sandy. Just went inside the blue spot. That's all right. We'll put blue back in there. Okay, so that is oyster beige. Have enough for everybody. Just typical me. And then, and I am going to just be chintzy here. And what hasn't had a touch of water, I have a clean, dry brush. I'm putting it back in. Okay, so I do want to get a little bit more of that crystal blue out on my palette. Hi, Lynn. You just ordered 4 sets of large seahorses. I love that, Donna Poltz. You're going to love painting them. Okay, so everything else on this smaller one, I did exactly the same other than the colors, okay? So on this one, I did the quinacridone gold to go a little bit more with the shading and stuff and that green-blue background. And then this lettering I did with Indigo Pop, which is a brand new color. If you don't have that, you can use Vivid Blue, Crisp Blue, Ocean Blue. Bye, Carrie. See you later. See you Thursday in the membership group. Well, tomorrow, if you can, I'll be on live in the group at 2 p.m. For our new members, just to show them where everything is. Hi, Helen. Okay, so we've got that. I think, do I want to use a pencil or do I want to use a pen so that you can see it better? I think I'm going to use a pen because this is the Uniball Signo and the ink will go away when I get it wet. Okay, so you do the same thing on this one. It's very simple, but what we're going to do is I drew the eye to the right and lower from the bag tag hole there. And then I know I want the mouth to be dimensional. Okay, so I did a rounded line to kind of mimic the opposite shape of that. And then starting about here, I'm going to do lines that cross. And then we'll do here, okay? And that cross and cross and cross. Okay. Then I'm going to come right down from here and I'm gonna just mimic the shape of the body, and this is gonna go all the way around to there. Okay, and then same thing, I'm gonna go about the middle, and then this one's just gonna taper off into that one. Okay. Now here, it's just squigglies. So I know I want some stuff going on here. And again, just kind of scribble it. Okay. So let's come in with our 1/4 inch. Do I want a 1/4 inch or half? We'll do 1/4 inch. And I'm going to get out some raw umber. So you can use raw umber, you can use asphaltum, will work just as well. This is the media line, so it's a little bit darker. In fact, I'll do both colors to show you. And a little bit of asphaltum. I just like how rich the raw umber is. Forgot the name of the paint, even though I just said it. Okay, so we are going to go up underneath. I'm gonna start in the middle so you can see, and down that edge. Up under the line and down that edge. Okay, so that's the raw umber. And then with asphaltum, I'm gonna do it side by side so you can see. Don't worry if your float gets wide, especially when you're doing the small one, because it will. And we're gonna dry brush in the centers of these, okay? So look, they're pretty neck and neck, all right? So, but I'm just gonna use the raw umber because I like its richness. Swipe it across my paper towel. So I will come right around the belly, right around the edge. Sometimes when you flip it around, you might get turned around a little bit with which side you're actually floating. So be careful of that. I say it because I do it often. So I'm just going to go around the whole body. And we will lighten that up. Like I said, if you get heavy-handed, a little too wide with your float, quite all right. Especially in these tighter areas. Ah, Marilyn Healy, thank you for the stars. So the pen I used was the Uniball Signo. It's Japanese ink. I carried this, the white and the red. They are not permanent, so as I do this, it's going to go away with water. Okay. So basically the entire seahorse is going to be floated along the edge with asphaltum or raw umber in the media line. Let's do the little tail. I like the seahorses that look like they have kind of like that curled S. I am not real big on them when they have that S that goes backwards. Does that make sense? You know, where it's long and then it goes that way. Oh, I love that, Dee. Red, white, and blue wreaths. Are you using the wreath RAK pen? I love that. Okay, so now we're going to come back in and do those lines that I drew. And even if it were to show that pen, which it won't because it's going to go away when I paint over it, you won't see it because we're going to float over it. We're going to dry brush. We're just going to go right across. these I am going to make just a touch darker so I can see them. Oops, not that dark. Okay. Excuse me. Now let's do the top of the head. If your angle brush is not moving, most likely you don't have enough moisture in it. So just a little bit of water. Sorry, I will be giving you a little whiplash going all different directions with this piece today. So, okay. Now we're going to dry this and I'm going to go the opposite direction. Oh, I love that, Dee. You'll have to share a picture. Thank you, Miss Crisable. I appreciate that. Putting links in the comments for me. Okay. Then I am going to float right up the inside of that line, right to the neck. A little bit more water. And I did a Seahorse page with my membership group. I think I shared that with you guys last Sunday, the picture, and loved the way I did it. I was really trying to figure out the easiest, simplest way to get the look of a seahorse. Alrighty. Now we're going to take that, oh, no, that's the asphaltum. Let's do that. Raw umber, and I'm going to go down the side. So we've already done the side on the right, so we're going to come in and do that down the right side of each little section. Again, it's a tight space. You could use an 8-inch angle brush. Not a fan of them, they're just too small. So I'm just going to go back and dry brush in those areas and make it happen. Okay. And here, I go around the bottom. Okay. Let's get a little. And so just like I did with that pen, I'm just going to take that raw umber and just do a little scribbling right there. Let's get that ear right there. Hi, Debbie. You can do your own thing. Absolutely. You know, when I do these on the live and share the colors and everything, to me, there really is no need for the additional cost of a pattern packet. So, all right, I have that crystal blue out. And we're just going to go over some of the areas I went outside the line. Okay. Now we're going to come in with a small mezzaluna. Okay. So I'm going to use this small mezzaluna. Oh, mine's feeling like I left a little paint in it. So a little trick, when I clean my mezzalunas, I like to use hand sanitizer, and I'll just work it in, both sides of the brush. Yep, there's a little white in there. So if it's too stiff when you're trying to use it, it has stiff and soft bristles, but if it's too stiff, just add a little hand sanitizer, because that will evaporate and you're ready to use it. Unlike water, which is going to make my paint run, and I don't want it to run. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with titanium white, clean paper towel, and we're going to load that up, swirl it around on your palette, like you can see me doing there, wipe a lot of it off, test it in the palm of your hand. If you have too much there, then you know you have too much and you can wipe more off, or if you don't have enough, you can pick up a little. So again, I'm just going to start right here in the center, and I'm going to do this circular motion, soft little circular motion on the corner of the brush. Okay, now when you get into these tight areas, you can go up on the chisel and just put a little bit in there. Again, just on the corner, tiny little dry brush. A little bit more. Now, if you go over some of the shading lines, that's okay. You can always come back and put them in. You're so welcome, Donna. Hi, Janet. Aw, thank you, Judy. And I'm just going to dry brush a little bit of white in here. Okay. Now on here, although the dots are going to help, put in a little bit more. Okay. Now I'm going to come in with, I need to put a little bit more of that raw umber along the edge there. And now we're going to come in with quinacridone gold. This is in the media line. You could use red spice. In the Americana line, you could do a little bit of burnt sienna with a touch of raw of saffron yellow. It just makes it a little bit more golden in color, but there really isn't a great substitution for this color. I'm going to pick it up on the toe of my 1/4 inch angle and wipe that off. And I'm just going to float that in. Too much, Sandy. Too much. Although you can always come back and dry brush. But I'm going to put that along the line and down the right side. I just find starting in the middle easier. You can soften it with your finger, or you can soften it with a mop. Now don't worry about how, if your hands shake, if those lines are a little crooked, don't worry, because when we come back with the finishing touch that I think is just magical for this piece, you will be able to fix anything that might be a little crooked or, again, this is so tight down here. I'm just going to introduce that color where I can. Quinacridone gold. It's a very strong color, just like the media line is. They're highly pigmented. And you're just going to get a really pretty, pretty look. Okay, we want to go around the face a little. And right there, I feel like I lost or didn't do it. Looks like I didn't do it. That line right there. Okay. Now I'm going to come in with that 1/4 inch angle, and on the toe of my 1/4 inch angle, I'm going to pick up just white on the toe only and work it in. Okay. Swipe it across my paper towel gently. And I'm going to slide, not like that, start in the middle. Okay, we're going to get those lines. Now I will make those whiter and brighter when I use the Posca pen. Okay. And I want to get a little bit more dry brushing in a couple areas that I feel need it. Okay, now let's get some Payne's Gray. because of course it wouldn't be a sandy project without Payne's Gray. Get that out. And I'm just going to take a stylus. Thank you, Patrick. So a little bit of Payne's Gray, and I'm going to dot it on my palette first. Then I'm going to come here. Just give it a little circular motion there. Let's let that dry. And while that's drying, I'm going to come in and do the letters, okay? Because I don't want to get into that I, which most likely I would do. Okay, so I'm going to take, let's see what I've got here. I've got a Zero Rigger and Indigo Pop. If you guys have not seen this color, oh, and let me go ahead and apologize. My nails are horrible. I need to get them fixed. I was trying to hold off till my mom comes up again, but I might need to go back before she comes up. Okay, now don't worry if you get into that little line that's scored or if you go past it a little bit, because the Posca pen is going to outline it. If you've got a blue Posca pen, you could always use that too. But I'm going to get a little bit of water, get that to move. Might be too big. I might need to switch. Okay, and it might take 2 coats. Again, my paint is slightly inky. I just mixed it with a little bit of water. You can do some Jo Sonja's Fast Drying Glaze Medium. Now here, you have a couple choices. You could do the little Y loop, just improvise. Hi, Linda. Oh, yeah, I posted. Then I'd be live today. I'll be live next Sunday as well. Sorry if my hair, top of my hair is in the way. I have to look through my bifocals to be able to do this. I sure do miss my perfect vision I had when I was 40. And at 42, it's just gotten worse. I know many of you can relate, right? So let me know in the comments where you're viewing from, and if this is your first time. Oops. Again, we're going to go around it with the Identipen, so I'm not too fussed if the paint goes outside the line a little. You can always come back in, and your background color is a fantastic eraser. But it's actually a pretty good size for this, the Zero Rigger. If I don't push too hard, it will go pretty much in that letter. Or out, like I did there. So anyone in the comment section watch Clarkson's Farm? British guy, he used to be on a show about cars, race cars and stuff. Anyway, new season's on. My husband and I love that show. I'm gonna take a little Payne's Gray, and right there on the snout, I'm gonna do a little Payne's Gray, and then we will highlight that on the other side. Silverstar Ski Resort, British Columbia, Canada. Double cataract surgery, both lenses replaced. Now I have near perfect vision. I know. Whew. Probably in my future. Okay. My kind of cut off a little bit. I'm going to pick up some raw umber and a touch of the quinacridone gold because I need to round out the cheek a little bit more. Okay, let's do one more layer on those letters. And again, that indigo blue. I saw this trick one time that said if you turn your piece upside down and fill in the area where the letter is, you know, and kind of forget the letter that you're actually painting. You're just painting in the shape. And I've tried that before. It does not work for me. I guess I just get a little discombobulated with the direction. Again, I didn't on my original, but if you want to add that little flip on the end of the Y there, you can. Just again, just overlaps that seahorse a tiny bit, or you can just let it go underneath. I think it's probably one of the most not difficult, but challenging, I will say, for me when I do my lives, is because I have to look through my, like I said, my bifocals on the bottom, and it doesn't always work. All right, I'm just gonna pick up a little bit of the background color, which is that crystal blue, and I'm just gonna touch up couple little areas that got a little too wide. So again, plenty of ways to fix it. Ooh, got blue there. Alrighty. Let's dry that. Thank you, Carrie. Okay, you want to let it cool down before you do anything else. All right, I'm going to take my black Posca pen, and you want to pump that to get the paint to come out. It is refillable, and I'm just going to hold it on the side, go straight down. You're going to flatten out the tip of that nib, so we don't want to do that. And then I'm going to come in and outline. Hello. Sometimes your pen's going to do what it wants, but that's okay because all this is going to, I can come back with that background color. You want to be able to see where you're going with that pen, so if you need to turn it, you can always use a liner brush for this part. While it's wet, I mean, it is paint, but I'm just gonna move that. And hopefully it'll dry before I get there. when I used to do ornaments and stuff at shows, there were so many people that were there doing ornaments as well, and they would use the paint pens like to personalize. And I thought one year, oh, I'll try that. No. Because you never know what a paint pen is going to bleed or spit. These don't do that, but those older type that would spit and bleed everywhere. Alrighty, I will come in with that rigger, clean up my mess a little, even though I'm gonna have white going around the edge. I really would like to take some of that away. Let's see where else maybe I got too wide right there. Oh, hello, Sandy. This goes all the way up to there. That seahorse. And I cut off part of its tail. We don't want to do that. Pick up a little bit of quinacridone gold. Okay. Thank you, Dixie. Okay, let's dry this. I'll come in with that 1/4 inch angle, a little bit of quinacridone gold on the toe of my brush, work it in, swipe it across my paper towel, and I'm going to just float some of that along the edge of the tail and right where it meets the body. Okay. Then I want to get a very small stylus. You can always use a liner brush, but I've had this one forever. Ozark Art, maybe not even in business anymore, but it's just got a nice little tip. And I'm going to come in with that quinacridone gold and white, and right around the eye, oops, wipe some of it off. I'm going to tap, let's just do the quinacridone gold first so there's not so much paint around the eye. I'm going to add a touch of the raw umber to that, and then the white. And I might need to let it dry if it's not going to pick up. Yeah, we're going to let that dry. Okay. So before we do the border around the thing and the seahorse, I am going to go ahead and splatter it. Okay, so let's dry that first. Let me just hold it up. Oh, I love that, Karen. Yeah, I decided to do the big one. That's just too small, and I'd be fighting it. And so now that that's dry, maybe we can take a little bit of white. It's just going to slightly highlight around that eye. And then I'm going to do a dot and a dot. Okay, now let's zoom in a little bit more, because as I start to get into this next part, which is probably my favorite, we're going to do the white on the seahorse, but we're going to splatter a little bit. So I think I will get my 1/2 inch oval encaustic. This is for wax encaustic brush, but works great. It's nice bristles. I'm gonna load that with a lot of water, pick up some white. Let's work that in. In fact, this went out with Happy Mail from Wednesday. It went out in their brush caddies. So, all right, we're gonna just put some white on, sprinkle that here and there, but not everywhere. Let's dry it. Alrighty. So this right here is the game changer, okay? So I'm going to make sure that I've got ink in that, shut down, and I'm gonna start along the top, but I probably won't add too much detail right now. These are just little dots, okay? You wanna leave some of that background color showing, and then as I get into here, I'm gonna have more of that crisscross line. And I'm just doing dot, 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 random little dots, okay? So we're just gonna go on the dots. And go right above slightly that line that we did. Okay, so we can get those dots on there that way. We don't want to get our hand into them, so I am going to turn this around and just start working on this side. So I'm going to go right around the edge of the body. Not a lot, though. You still want to see some of that background. That's what's going to make it look dimensional and not flat. We'll just finish off that tail. Right down there in the center. Some dots along the edge. Okay. Go right up its belly. All right. Then we're going to go on the opposite side. So I'm on the right side of that darker line. Okay, so see how that's, what size is the tip of the pen? This one is the only one I carry in black and white, and it's the 0.7 millimeter. So we'll get some in there, and then I gotta do along the edge. And then here, just dot, 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 where it's meeting. Okay. And I think I did a slight little highlight there. All right, now in here, I'm going to, I wanna pull and kind of swipe. I don't really want to draw it. So what I mean by that is I'm going to pull and swipe, pull and swipe, pull and swipe, pull and swipe. And I can do that a couple times if I need to brighten it up, which I will. Okay, so I just find it much easier to get your placing first, and then you can come in and get those on there. All right, so let's dry that before I get my hand into it. And this, the background, I'm gonna show you what I did because I wanted it that crystal blue. And I came in, I think it was this color. No, it actually was the Sea Breeze that I used on the small one, but I didn't want it everywhere. So I'm just gonna get a little bit of that out. And you can do this before you paint all the other things. I just noticed. So I did a little bit of a wash. So if you don't want it just like blue, but you want to add a little bit of green to it, that green blue sea breeze. It's not real green, but it's more green than the crystal blue. Okay, but just kind of in this area. Okay, because the rest is going to have an outline of white. All right, back with the Posca pen, and I need to make sure I'm on camera. And we're just going to add some little highlights on these letters. I'm holding my breath. Do there and there and there. Okay. Now I will come back with some raw umber or asphaltum, and where those white lines are, we want to just float right over that. And then I can also go up underneath slightly, just with a little bit of a shadow. I'm gonna let that dry. And then let's come back to our small number 2 flat. And I'm going to pick up some Payne's Gray, because even on something like this, I think some cast shadows just really make it. So very inky, and I want to go up underneath. I wiped off too much. Let's go up underneath, and then we'll go up underneath that. Go up under the rounded tail there. This is going to be white. I have a white border, but I am going to just go ahead and go right around that. So slightly there, and then same thing in the letters. Yes, I tend to hold my breath too and stick my tongue out. My youngest is the same way. You can always tell when he's really concentrating. Okay, so up under, we'll go there, up under the letters. They're pretty tight, so no need to, I'm just looking to see what side I have it on, if I have it on all of them. I'll put some underneath that little thing there on the L, on the L. That's a lot of times if you're holding your breath when you're using a liner brush too. That's why I always say, make sure you're breathing. Okay, that's a little too wide, Sandy. Okay, but I still like it. I just like how it lifts it, okay? Then we will come back with a white Posca pen. Now, if you've got a bigger white Posca, like this one is, I don't carry this, but it's a 1.8, 2.5. You can always use a liner brush, a paintbrush, or you can use the small Posca. Just for time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and use this one. And I'm just gonna go right around the entire outline. You want to be able to see where you are going. So make sure you turn your piece. And I'm just going right along that edge. There's so many sizes of these. They have brush tips. Of course, you can make your own marker with DecoArt's Marker Maker. Right now, there's just one size nib though, and I really do like that smaller nib. Okay, I don't want to get my hand in that. All right, let's dry it. But Now I need safety glasses when doing dangerous things. Can Posca pens be used on fabric? I do not know, Linda. That's a good Googleable question. I've never used them on fabric. Okay, I need a little bit of that quinacridone gold on the face. Oh, Sandy. Seriously. Thank goodness it's paint, right? Because guess what? I'll just do that. I just wanted a little bit more of that in the face. That quinacridone gold. And a little bit more on the shading. Oh, I missed a little spot right there with my pen. So let's get that. Isn't that cool though with the Posca pen and how quick that, I mean, really just brought it all together, I think. Okay, I still want some more splatter. And we'll leave some on the Seahorse as well. So I'm gonna use my bigger encaustic. Get it wet, add some white, and then we will really splatter it. Now, I'm gonna let it sit for a second. If you have splatter where you don't want it, just take your wet brush, lift some of it up. They're like big dots or an area that's got too much white. But I like how it got onto the Seahorse as well. We're gonna let it sit for a second. And then I will come in with the paper towel and I'm just gonna lightly press it. Okay, so we're gonna move this one out of the way. That is our Seahorse. You could always come back in and darken up that shading with the raw umber or asphaltum. All right, but loving those. Let's move that out of the way and come to our sea turtle. Okay, now I did do kind of an ombre effect, and I'm just going to go over everything because if I try to get into little spaces, I'm going to miss spaces. Oh, let me do another little reveal. Okay, so there is our Sea Life sea turtle. So I have indigo blue out, and we're going to use sea breeze and white. So I've got those colors. Let me just get a little bit more sea breeze. And again, same thing. I base coated it with the multi-purpose sealer on the front and the sides. I am going to get a sponge dauber because I do want to ombre this. And I will turn it probably to the side or upside down. We'll see. All right, I'm gonna start with that indigo blue. And again, my sponge is dry. Oh, thank you, Cindy. It needs to be heat set. All right. I don't know why you would use anything on fabric except DecoArt So Soft fabric paint. And an Identipen works great too and doesn't bleed. Okay, so we're going to come in with that indigo blue. I'm just going to scrub it. I'm trying not to come back from the edge. I'm just going right to the edge, lifting it. Then I'm going to take that, pick up that sea glass. I'm just going to go right into it. Now don't worry about where this meets because I will come back with the other side and blend it out. And then I'm going to pick up a little bit of white, work that into the sponge. I'm going to tap it off on my paper towel. And we're just going to go around the rest of the sea turtle. Okay, so not a lot of difference between the two there, especially since I just went over it with white, but a little bit of an ombre. Just wanted to do something different on this background. Alrighty. And then I need a little bit darker right around there. In fact, I do want it a little darker, so I'm going to just use a brush and get right down into those letters. Touch of water. There we go. And then just blend that out. Okay, let's write. Used to have 2 in an aquarium. Oh, I love that. The daubers are amazing. Okay. Another one of the reasons I wanted to do both these together, other than the fact that they're both undersea creatures, is I used a lot of the same colors, okay? But they don't look exactly the same. And then let's come in with a number. Where is my number 8? Well, I moved it. Let's grab a number 8. A little bit of water. We're going to get that oyster beige back out, and it will be good enough between all the layering and dry brushing and floating we're going to do. It will be enough to give you a separation between that blue background and the color of the turtle. Again, if you go outside the line, your background color can be your eraser. Just going to fill that in. Slight touch of water. Just to get it to, just get it to move a little bit better. Now this one's scored. The seahorse I did isn't scored, because there are a lot of different ways that you can paint that in the lines you put on, but hopefully you watched how I did that. It's pretty simple, just to get those sections on. There's a place in Georgia called Tybee Island. If you've heard of it, let me know. But they're very known for the sea turtles. You have a lot of them that come in up on the sand and lay their eggs and then go back out, which there are a lot of places, but Tybee's known for that. All right, so it doesn't have to be pretty, not a great even coat or opaque, just enough of a barrier between the two, okay? And again, for time's sake, I'm gonna use this bigger one, although on my original, I used the small one. It just takes longer, but I like the control of the small one. And if I start to get, that's why I didn't use that one. Your paint just goes too far, I think. And we want to keep it in that letter. So it would be a waste of time to sit there and do it with the bigger one, because I'm just going to make a mess and have to clean it up. So I do have seahorses already cut with the old font, and I will start cutting them with the newer font for Salty Life. the name but didn't know about sea turtles. Yes, Tybee Island is gorgeous. We would go every year to St. Simon's. That was our anniversary trip every September. My husband would go for me because he's not a beach person. I love the beach. But we've not been in years because the condo we would go to, they had the waterfront really changed after one of the last big hurricanes in Florida that came up. So we have not been back in a couple of years. Tybee Island also has a driftwood beach, which is absolutely incredible. And again, if you Google it, you'll be able to see all the really cool pictures of it. It's like you're in the middle of a forest that's on the ground, but it's actually on the sand. It's so cool. Now, a lot of these letters kind of run together, and when we outline it in black, it will really show up. But I'm not going to outline it in black just yet. I just wanted to get that first little layer on of white. Right outside that letter, Sandy. Alrighty. Yes, Savannah is gorgeous too. Hi, Connie. Okay, just don't want to get my hand in there. All right, let's come in on our seahorse and do pretty much the same thing. I'm going to use my 3/8 angle for some areas with the raw umber. And it does not matter. I know there's a section that's going to come through with white. And so I'm going to act like it's kind of not even there. And let me hold this up and show you what I'm talking about. That line around it, the line separating the tortoise shell or turtle shell, and I'm gonna go one direction first. And again, you can soften that with your mop. Don't worry if you get a little bit of a line as you're floating. Of course, I wouldn't want that if I were trying to float a flower or something, and I wasn't going to dry brush. But I'm going to dry brush, and dry brushing fixes a lot of floating issues. So if you ever get your float too wide, just do a little dry brushing. I'm going to go around the outside of the body, and I'm going to switch now, I think, to my 1/4 inch. Just, you always want to use a brush that's fit for that size of area. So here, the 3/8 would work fine, but I want a little bit more control. So I'm going to go there. Again, this is the raw umber. I love Charleston. My husband and I went there a few years ago, and I can't wait to go back. That was the first time either of us had been. And then next year for my big 60th, we are going on a 2-week Viking cruise to, I think, 8 different cities. I know we start in Barcelona, and we end up going to Monaco, to Greece, part of Italy. We go to somewhere in Turkey. And if you followed me for a while, you know I went and visited my brother-in-law in Istanbul, and it really was one of the best trips I've ever taken in my life. Loved it. All right, so let's finish that. There. You can come back with the 3/8 in that area since it's a little wider. Okay, we want to go in here. And there. Again, raw umber, burnt sienna, or not burnt sienna, excuse me, asphaltum. Starts dragging, make sure you pick up a little bit more water because it will not move off your brush. My paint's drying out a little bit because my studio lights are hot. Okay, I'm gonna leave that. Come back to my 3/8. I might switch back to my quarter, it just depends. No, I'll keep with this one. Make this nice and dark. So I did that one a little bit darker. Just gonna soften that out. Go that way so I can get my hand out of the way. I do love projects like this where, again, you can just be a little bit looser with that floating. Just give the color on there. Okay. Oh, I love that, Donna. My mother and father-in-law did a Alaskan cruise, and James Michener was on the boat that they were on. So we all got Alaska books that he had written. Okay, so that's gonna be there. All right, I do want to darken this up just a wee bit. Some of these sections. Like I said, though, you can always do your dry brushing and whatnot and then come back in and shade it even more, because that is really what's going to make these sections stand out a lot better. Now let's rinse this, let's dry this. Hello. And then I'm gonna take that 3/8 angle, slightly wet, pick up some quinacridone gold, way too much water. And then we're going to float that along the top. Side of that. On the head, we'll do there. I'm gonna leave that brush with that paint, and I'm gonna pick up a little bit of raw umber because I need some right there. My husband's cooking something. I failed miserably cooking us lunch today. I made some stir fry, and I obviously used way too much soy sauce because neither of us could eat it. Okay, we will pick up some more quinacridone gold, and I'm going to bring that around the inside. There, a little along the bottom. Okay, and then also we'll go ahead and put a little bit in these sections. Again, I'm going to dry brush, so I don't want to try and make it pretty right now. Just placing that color in. Okay, let's dry it. Thank you, Lynn. In Barcelona, you'll be able to visit the finished. Oh, I know, I cannot wait. Cannot wait. So we're gonna come back and dry brush some colors on that I did not use in the Seahorse and float a little bit as well. And I did that with a couple different greens. So of course, plantation pine, and then a little touch of new leaf, which is just going to brighten it up just a wee bit. Okay. Back to that 3/8 angle. I'm going to fix these things as I see them because we need a much darker float of color right there. Okay. So let's come in with our Mezzaluna brush again. Now this is bigger, so I could even use a medium if I wanted to. And again, when I use those and the space, I just go up on the corner. Okay, so we'll get out some white. Swirl that around and work it into the brush. Wipe quite a bit of it off. Smaller areas, you definitely want to use that that small Mezzaluna. And we're just going to dry brush in here. I'll dry brush a little on the fins, on the top area of the head. A little in there. On the top there. Little on the fin there. Oops, too much. That's okay. Okay. So I'll come back with the 3/8 angle, and let's pick up a little bit of plantation pine. And I'm going to load that on the toe of my angle brush, swipe it across my paper towel to get rid of the excess. And I'm just going to incorporate this in some of the places here. We will add some on the face. And the little legs, a little on this part. Okay. Then Harry Brower made pork roast with crackling last night. Oh my goodness, that sounds delicious, Linda Park. I'm so glad you made it safely to Australia. Okay, so I got a little bit of that new leaf. And we'll pick a little bit of that up, just a little. I don't want it real green, but You know, I do like the green in there. We're just going to put it in a couple of places like we did the other. Here, there, not everywhere. Well, come off the brush. There we go. All right, I'm gonna rinse that out. Now I will come back with the raw umber. And we're gonna start really defining these sections a bit more. Along the bottom of the feet. Make it darker there, where it meets the body or the shell. Has anyone ever seen a turtle out of its shell? I can say that I have not. If you kind of assembly line these, do the lines that go this way. Then when you get your brush the other direction, you don't get into those lines. So let's just dry this. And then we will go. Oh, I already did that one. Duh. That section. And there. And finally there. Okay. Now I do want to add a little bit more plantation pine. Just missed hitting that on that dry brush part. Okay, so what we're going to do now is come in with our white Posca marker. And I didn't want these to be white like on the seahorse. I thought that really fit. If the white sticks out too much, you can always do a little wash of like the quinacridone gold. Hi, Deb. Aw, love you too, my friend. Working at the parish. Good for you. All right, so we want to do these inside lines. And I did not leave these as bright and white. I came in with that quinacridone gold, and we put a little bit of wash again on the sections. It will stand out less. It's not going to be stark white. And if you get into the area again, you just come back in with your shading. So there are a lot of ways to fix anything that we're doing. Make sure you've got paint in your, there we go. Again, try not to get your hand in it. Well, Sandy, where did that line come from? Right there. So you see how it's going to sink in. So you'll want to come back and probably do a little bit brighter if you need to. I didn't end up taking Thursday off like I told you guys Wednesday night. I ended up taking Friday off, and my husband and I had a fantastic day together. Okay, let me dry it. Another thing I like to do is just take that white Posca. We can do a little highlight there, do a little highlight there, but we're gonna wash over them because we don't want to stick out like a sore thumb. And then I'll do some in here as well, which might be a little tricky if any area is wet. I'm living on the edge here, so. Alrighty. Now we do want to go around this part right here. And before I do that, I need to get that small number 2 flat with a little bit of raw umber and quinacridone gold, because these little guys right here, I want to make them a little bit darker. These little sections. Ooh, that's not a great brush for this. Doesn't have a great chisel edge. So if I go over to the right a little bit above it, that's okay, because I'm about to put white there. There we go. Kind of getting that groove. Sorry, I'm holding my breath. So I didn't mix it down to one color. I just have the raw umber and the quinacridone gold both on the brush. Just hold that. Okay, now let's dry it. What do you varnish with? How long do you wait? So I probably wouldn't varnish this today, you know, although if you're drying it with a heat tool, it's gonna dry quicker. So I use, my favorite is the Duraclear Soft Touch Varnish. They used to have it in the media line, they no longer do. And it is my go-to varnish for just about anything. Okay, not just wood pieces. I do it on my art journal, in my, on canvas, wood, paper mache. Now we're just gonna go right around this little border. And I am gonna have some cleanup to do on the inside with that shading, just to bring back some of that dark that inadvertently went away. It is the one thing, again, having to remember this is paint, and if you get your hand into it while it's still wet, it is going to smear and bleed and move, okay? So, but it was permanent. When it's dry, it's dry. The only way you can get it off is hand sanitizer, probably. Okay. And then we have these little sections here. Let's see if those go to the edge. They don't. They just go right to there. Again, sorry if my hair is showing. I'm trying to... Oh, you're welcome, Linda. Oh my goodness, these blackbirds. The bird feed we got this time has tons of sunflower seeds, and these birds, these blackbirds, keep coming and cleaning it out. I'm gonna do a little highlight on the nose there. Okay, let's do a little cleanup in this section. I'm gonna put a little bit of raw umber, a little bit of quinacridone gold, just kind of killed, not two birds. We're just gonna knock it out with one thing instead of trying to go back and add another color. So see, that just really brings those sections more into focus. Really want to make sure right along that edge, especially that edge right there. Get a nice dark shadow. That's quinacridone gold and raw umber. I need more raw umber because, oh, these lights. Late to the party. Hi, Linda. I'll be watching the restaurant replay. Love the project. Thank you so much, Linda. Have a fantastic time and give Harry and Karen a big hug for me. Okay, I'm also reducing the size of some of these white sections that got way too wide. Deer like to knock the seeds out of the bird feeders. The babies eat the seeds off the grass. Thank you, Brenda. Alrighty, so I'm gonna take that number 8 flat. It's wet, and I'm going to pick up some, nope, not just yet. Missed one part. I put a little bit of a dash in these sections. And I want the wash to go over that. So, okay. A couple of little brighter highlights on those center ones, and the tops of those, on the face. Okay, we will dry it. Now, another really cool thing you can do when you're doing that dry brushing, like where you put the line, like here, I want to just make it a little fuzzier. So I can dry brush some of the white right over it, and it'll kind of reduce the line a little bit, just give it some fuzziness to it. I won't do too much on that one. Okay, number 8 flat now, quinacridone gold. We are going to make that nice and inky, and then I'm going to wash And see how I'm moving it around. So sometimes you might get a little bit more in one place and not the other. It's gonna make it not cookie cutter. More on the, but definitely over the white Posca marker. I will say my lines on here are a little bit wider, and that's mostly just from me standing off to the side as I'm painting so my hair doesn't get into it. So, you know, those little sections on some of mine here, you know, it didn't go all the way to the line. That one didn't go all the way to the line. So again, you can just kind of improvise. Let's get a little bit more of that color on the head and on the, definitely on that white. Okay, and then I am gonna come back because I really want some more green. So I got plantation pine. We are almost done with the color, and we'll move on to the letters. Okay, so let's dry that. Oh, and I will show you what I'm talking about with the little lines. If you want to make those thinner, that's where you're going to come in with that floating, and just really, you can see the score line. Okay, it's hard for me to see that sometimes when I'm off to the side and up, but see how that will reduce the size of that line. So by all means, make it as wide or as thin as you want it. All right. Now let's do a little splatter. So I'll get that encaustic. Let's just do that. No two turtles are the same in nature. Absolutely. So we've got white on our encaustic, and I'm just gonna splatter that. And then take my paper towel and soften the look. And then kind of that little finishing, like I've done a couple times already, but I like it to build. Just leave those a little bit more prominent white. Okay, now we're gonna come in with the Posca marker, and let's quickly go over this. So that fin goes right over, is it a fin? Goes right over that S, so you could carry that on, or you can put the S in front of it. Again, whatever you want to do. We just really need the tops a little bit brighter, wider. And if you go outside the line, just now the F, I think I will put that right over as well. I did on my original. That background color to be your eraser. Okay, let's dry. We're almost done. No worries, Elka. What's the discount code on my website? Is ART, all capitals. ART. I do like how much more green is in that one too. So if you like more green, you can add that. Put some in, but I don't want to cover up my white dots that I've done 50 times. All right, so we're gonna turn it sideways, and I'm gonna take that 1/4 inch angle with quinacridone gold. Let's work that in. And we're just gonna float it right along the base of those letters, as dark or as much as you want. Hi, Sue Black. Good to see you on. And we'll outline it with black. You could always outline like we did with white on the seahorse, but I didn't do a border around this one. I just left it with the ombre blue. Okay. So we've got that. Let's dry it. Before we dry it, let me just go ahead and fix my, oh, Sante. Okay, the indigo blue, or indigo pop, excuse me. I want to get a little bit of that and fix this F. Got a little carried away, even though I'm going to outline it, and then my E right along the bottom there. My S. Alrighty. Hello, Marianne. No worries. You always watch the replay. Okay, so original, again, has a little more green in it. The lines are certainly a lot thinner. What I probably will do just later, so it's done, is come in and shade and make those thinner. Let's outline this with black. You could do a second layer over that if you want to. You could do a little bit of asphaltum. Isn't going to be as harsh, but I do think that I want it to be just a wee bit darker. And we're going to let that dry. Come in with that number 2 flat. Remember, little Payne's Gray. Oops, do I have no more Payne's Gray? I have no more Payne's Gray. Let's get some Payne's Gray here. This is how dry it is because these lights. We will mix that, tap it across my paper towel, and I am going to go up underneath the head, underneath the body, under the legs there, a little bit more on that head. Okay, just to, again, kind of lift it up off that surface. Alrighty. Last drying. Again, make sure it's cooled down a little bit before you go with the pen. Just like the way this made the letters stand out even more. And if you do what I just did and go right into your letter, just take a clean brush or let it dry and come back with that color, which I'm gonna have to do. So I just improvised and put that little part for the T over. It's the ADD in me because all I can think about is I want to fix that S right now. Anyone else relate? YouTube is frozen. Huh, you might need to refresh because mine's still going. I'm gonna take a little bit of white on that section I messed up. See, always, and I have always said that I love when mistakes happen because then I can show you how to fix them. Because 9 times out of 10, that will keep you from moving on. If you mess something up, you're like, I don't know how to fix it. I'll put that one to the side, and it becomes a UFO, an unfinished project. Right? So we will dry. I'm just going to use that rigger and that quinacridone gold and just brush it on. All right. And then let's come back with anywhere that you need to brighten up that white along the top, or if your line got a little bit too wide. All right. But guys, I think I'm gonna do a final little splatter with some bigger splatters. I'm gonna get my big 1-inch oval encaustic wet with white. I know I wanna put, there we go. Just a few. And then just lightly press. Alrighty. Did I just do that, Sandy? I did. All right, we need some down here. You'll always be able to tell where it's missed. And if you don't want any more in that area, just cover it up with a paper towel. Now we have some on the letters and in that blue space. All righty, so let's get out our sea turtle and seahorse, and then they've got the pins. You can paint it the same way. You can improvise and paint it however you want, whatever colors you want. But share a picture with me. I'd love to see it. You can either send it to me through my website, but I'd love for you to post it maybe in the comments here. All right, so alrighty guys, next week, like I mentioned, I will be doing the big Jeep Life, and then I'm gonna do a small little probably like a 6x6 mixed media piece with, I had it on both, with my new floral collage paper. So let me come right back up here. Alrighty guys, I hope you have a fantastic week. I hope you paint up some bag tags. These are 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, and these are 4 by 2 3/4. So, and I do see that over here on YouTube, it looks like it is buffering. So I'm just going to refresh that. Let's see, now I've got a stupid commercial. There we go, I'll skip it. Okay, hopefully I'm not frozen. Nope, it's back. Okay guys, so have a wonderful week. Don't forget to get those brushes out, get that paint out, do something creative. If you're not in the mood to do a full-on project, base coat something. Sit down and watch one of my older lessons, okay? Remember, action leads to motivation. Motivation does not lead to action. And the more you paint, the more you will paint, all right? Appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys back here next Sunday, 4 p.m. And thank you guys so much. I will look through the questions and see if there's anything I missed, and hope to see you guys here next Sunday. For my membership group, I will see you at 2 o'clock tomorrow in the group to welcome our new members, and then Thursday for our lesson. All right, guys, have a great one. Bye.